But we are going to be seeing these two teams both at the lowest point values, but still kind of on equal footing as far as their potential. We actually saw Kaipi take out Alliance recently in another cup and a tournament, and RoX have shown they have plenty of tricks up their sleeves. So, going to be an interesting game either way, and I'm going to turn it over to my man, Triumph. How's it going?
It's pretty good. I mean, we did see last week RoX.KIS cause a fairly early upset. Everybody's rares were lost when I'm pretty sure it was Quantic they took down in fairly short order. Granted, I'm pretty sure Quantic were in with 3 stand-ins, so it wasn't a great showing for them. But RoX.KIS, they do have a stand in their own. JRB is standing in tonight. But even with their new lineup, Tron is surprisingly good. Like, for someone who's relatively unknown, he performs extremely well. And of course, Kaipi, it's sort of hit and miss. Like, when they play well, they are shit hot. But often they sort of fall apart. They can't really decide what they want to do, and things just go badly for them. But they are going to open up with some interesting bans. Alchemist and Weaver. Not two heroes that often hit the ban pool, often picked though.
Yeah. True. It's really, really weird to see it happen, though. RoX knows that first pick is in Kaipi's hands, so they're kind of doing a little bit of throwaway action, saying, okay, well, these are heroes that are really, really powerful in some respects, but we're not going to select them here, and we don't want to have to worry about that coming out in your hands. Especially the Weaver can be quite a wild card in the hands of many Russian players there. So, anyways, they're going to start off by picking up the Batrider. Gives them some great potential to get that guy in the solo lane or in the jungle. Farm it up early. When they get around the time period where he gets the Blink Dagger, they're going to be changing up their initiation format and really putting the pressure on RoX. So they have to put up a lineup that isn't necessarily very early game minded, but definitely has to have the potential to take a fight when it comes down to it. And Shadow Demon with the defensive disruption potential and the Miranda to follow up for offensive plays, I really like that draft. I think it's a great response to what is already on the board.
Well, the other thing, of course, not only is Shadow Demon a great counter against the Batrider, completely messing up his ability to lasso and drag someone out of position. The other thing is, of course, Miranda, if you're going with Shadow Demon, if you're going for the offensive tri-lane, Shadow Demon Disruption is one of the best ways to set up a potential gank with the arrow. It's a little bit trickier to time, obviously. It's like a lot harder to time compared to, say, a Nightmare Arrow. But if you time it right, not only do you land the arrow damage to stun, but you lock the hero down and 2 of his own illusions would proceed to tear his face off. Especially if it's something like Anti-Mage, who's been foolish enough to skill level a mana break against him. Suddenly he's losing all of his mana. It is very, very powerful indeed. So this looks like they want to get on Kaipi's nuts with this, and I mean this is a smart play, a smart pickup against Kaipi, because they tend to go for that big late game right clicker. They like to have the Void, the Cancel Lancer, the Anti-Mage, something like that, farming safely. So if you bring this really, really powerful offensive try with huge kill potential, it is quite difficult to deal with. That said, of course, we did have it played as a defensive try earlier, so who knows? You know, all bets are off. We'll see where Kaipi goes with this and what RoX.KIS have in mind, because it's too early to tell just yet.
Yeah, the Visitors pickup, it's been pretty common today, but as a whole it hasn't been that critical. Fights that they generally win, that Visitors has been able to take down, generally would have been won anyways, and fights that they lose, you can't really say it's whether the Visitors contributed enough or not. I've seen a couple of really good familiar plays, No-Tail getting some good stuns off here and there, but in general, it hasn't been the most decisive of picks. We'll have to see who's going to be micromanaging that and how effective it's going to be. But either way, right now, they're drafting them so strong. I would say the biggest aspect of this match, as far as in the broader scope of things, is whoever wins this will be fighting off against EG or Virtus Pro. If Virtus Pro wins, then they're going to be they're going to be going up against the winner here. And the way it plays out is if Virtus Pro can get 30 points in this, they're going to tie against Fnatic and go for a tiebreaker, I think, sometime tomorrow. And if Virtus Pro gets even more than that, then they guarantee themselves that 4th place slot. So, really big deal is how far Virtus Pro will get. That'll be decided next match, which is Evil Geniuses versus Virtus Pro. But, of course, if they do advance, they're going to be fighting the winner of this. So that's kind of how it plays on into the broader scheme there. And RoX and Kaipi just kind of playing for a little bit of pride either way. But right now, the banning stage going across, we do see Nyx and Darkseer taken out, as well as Naga Siren and Lone Druid. So a very diverse set of bans, but neither team targeting a specific role or anything along those lines.
Yeah, I mean, this is a perfect game for them to experiment with. You know, it's essentially a scrim for them. It's not really going to decide anything for their future. So if they want to get some weird lineups out and want to trial some stuff, this is a perfect time to run it. Now, we've got the 3rd pick here for RoX.KIS. They've got one of the supports. I mean, they don't need to finish out the trial here. They can sort of, well, assuming that's going to be a trialing, they don't need to finish that out. They can just leave it as it is and then decide to finish it. Or whether or not they want to switch things up, you know, essentially they could do all sorts of random stuff. I mean, like we said, this is a game where they can experiment quite freely. They could do something like try and throw Mirana mid for ganking power. If she excels well at her level, she's unlikely to win the lane, just down to the fact that she has piss poor damage and has a lot of trouble CSing. So generally speaking, whoever she goes up against, stuff like Queen of Pain, Storm, it's very difficult for her to win that lane. And in this case, Dazzle, okay, that to me says they want to play this defensively and then sort of go for sort of mid-game power. It doesn't work well on the offensive side of things just because, well, Dazzle doesn't lend a whole lot. He's not like the Demanded Shaman for Heroes of North, who had the ability to basically target bomb those heals because they would prioritize the closest models to whatever you target. Whereas in this case, Dazzle, it prioritizes heroes. So you've got 3 ranged heroes who obviously they're not clustering because they want to avoid getting stunned. It's very difficult to land a big heal bomb. So in the end, he tends to come down to sort of a bit of poison. His presence in the lane is just poison touch, and maybe you go for a shallow grave, you're trying to dive hard or something like that. So he's not really great in offensive capabilities. I think this is defensive more than anything else. It's not good for defensive case.
But if they do go for the tri-lane Dazzle and they can get their pull on block to give him some good experience, one great thing about Dazzle with Shadow Demon is that the disruption illusions are on your side, so you will be able to heal them, you will be able to get the nuke there, and in conjunction with Soul Catcher and Arrow, that's enough to bring any hero down, really. So there is some potential with that, and of course he is great for survivability. I was hoping we could see something cool like a Huskar come out, but I actually think he's been taken out of CM, so that kind of
he's out.
Forces them into going to some other gank-oriented plays like the Slark, and that's going to be fun to see nevertheless. He's going to be able to kind of maneuver about, and right now, Visage, he's okay to buy sentries with and dust with, but generally speaking, he'd prefer to be building up a bigger and better item like Mechanism or Aghanim Scepter, at least a Medallion to get him started. So forcing that pressure out and kind of forcing them to pay the support tax is pretty nice, but of course they kind of had to do that with the Mirana's Moonlight Shadow anyways.
Well, I mean, this is an interesting synergy here. We don't see this all that often, but Mirana, of course, her ult does a lot more for Slark, just because it's not just an ult, like not just basically setting invisible. Of course, it's a big healing factor for him as well. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, this looks defensive in nature, and it looks like they're just going to try and overpower Kaipi in the mid game. Mirana, of course, she doesn't scale insanely well towards the late game unless she gets a huge lead on the opposing carry, and she doesn't have the same AoE or just huge burst, like huge AoE burst damage potential that Gyrocopter has. But when it comes to single target, like she can knock out someone very effectively. And of course, like we saw game 1, Fnatic, that game was basically decided off an arrow, which was shot from a long range and just hit somebody in the base, just managed to knock out Nakes for a bit and allowed them to just blast down the Rubik. So, you know, games are won and lost just on retarded arrows. In fact, I'm pretty sure, didn't we see last week we saw a rage-inducing arrow, just a blind arrow shot into a base, and it picked off somebody again? Yeah, it's just blind arrows. Apparently they win games when you get stupidly lucky with them. But anyway, regardless of that.
Yeah, talking about the disables, right now what they have to interrupt a Bane's ultimate, since I don't believe the Pounce will, they're really looking at the Disruption, the Arrow, and the Poison Touch. Generally speaking, that means that Poison Touch will always be going out on the Bane from Dazzle, but if they do get a mid-hero that has an Orchid, and are able to silence out Dazzle, or even pick up something like really cool like a Night Stalker or something that can just really nullify Dazzle's potential to cast his spells, then they're going to be in a better state to guarantee an ultimate coming out from Bane. And if they can do that, then they have 2 heroes that are picking off for a very long period of time. Lasso and Fiend's Grip gives Gyrocopter all the time in the world to get all his flat cannon shots off, both cooldowns, and just tear everybody a new one.
Yeah, of course. I mean, Flat Cannon is just huge. It's definitely a huge force multiplier once he gets that farm up and running. And we'll see. I mean, it's going to come... if he can get the early BKB, this is what's going to suck for him. If he gets caught out by those disrupt arrow combos, that's going to hurt. But on the other hand, if obviously the instantaneous factor of the BKB might be able to save him. So if you can get that early BKB, he might become a lot harder to pick out in that sense. And also just the fact that they try and fight early... if they try and fight uphill early on, the Bane is going to be a big issue for them as well, because you can Nightmare somebody in the Fiend's Grip. It is really, really messy. When you've got these 2 really, really nasty lockdowns, you've got Lasso as well as the Fiend's Grip, it's going to be difficult for RoX.KIS to engage in this sort of 5v5 without having people take into the fight very quickly. Even with the sustain of something like Dazzle, I think it's going to be hard for them to siege early, and I feel like this is going to give them a lot of time to push in with, basically for Gyrocopter to get his farm up and running. So I think that's going to cause them some trouble on the because they don't have some kind of huge AoE wombo combo that you just basically win a team fight off the back of that. They don't even have something simple like having Sonic Wave. I mean, we saw game one how huge Sonic Wave was. It just ended fights before they began, just by dropping it on a couple of heroes. They don't have that kind of burst potential, especially with the Nature's Prophet last pick. It looks like they're just going to have to basically split push as much as possible, keep Kaipi split up as much as possible, and just pick people off. And that's going to play to if they can play to their strengths, I think they can find this. And when they pick off one or two heroes here and there, that's when they want to push. They can get those towers down. Just the question is going to come down to, can they break the high ground? Can they get that tier 3 siege done? And that's going to be the tricky bit.
Interesting ban by Kaipi, taking out the Bristleback there. I'm personally a huge fan of the Dazzleback combo. It's one of my favorite pub stomp builds to run. But in this situation, obviously, RoX we're looking for something very, very different, as they do select the Nature's Prophet and have more global and pushing presence without really having that raw tank on the front lines. So pretty much this puts more pressure on Dazzle to stay as far back as possible. Same thing with Shadow Demon, of course. Defensive disruptions can't be denied as far as huge survivability game changers. But generally speaking, it just means Shadow Demon and Dazzle have to be very, very conscious about how they use their abilities, because they don't have any tanky heroes. They can't soak up a lot of damage. Mirana, Slark, and Nature's Prophet, if there's detection on the field, they're very fragile heroes with only... I mean, they have some good escapes, but if they're pinned down, they're going to have a rough time of things. So that's kind of where the Queen of Pain comes in a little bit. If she can get a Scythe or an Orchid, it's going to be changing up how RoX has to play quite a bit. But the game has started off, and we'll be seeing how it all plays out. RTZ going to be running on his Queen of Pain, starting off with a Null Tally and being pulled to regeneration. He really wants to win his lane.
I mean, I'm worried. Even if they get... I don't think Queen of Pain even needs to get one of those early items. She could even just go straight for argument if she feels like it, just because they have the Batrider. The Batrider can initiate, he can cause the trouble, he can lock somebody down, and when they all, like when RoX.KIS go, oh holy crap, we've got to save this person, and sort of try and dive in and help him, that's when Queen of Pain sweeps in, and suddenly everybody's on the floor on their backs getting destroyed. But it's just, she has so much AoE potential against this line. Like you said, they're fragile, they are so easy to pull apart, but now we might have an early gank here as we get to see the disruption come out. Mirana going to launch an arrow, it will land there, and Pyladai falling apart very quickly. Nobody can get there in time to save him, as he will get brought down very, very quickly indeed. As it looks like Bone 7 having to back with that Envy
Come
as
with
well.
Me's in a bad spot too. This arrow is coming out in 3 seconds. They're going to go for the pounce. They won't connect with that, but it might be enough to actually pin him down with the arrow. Grave Chill giving him quite a bit of movement speed though, and they're not going to try for it.
I think that's a pretty big deal. Forcing him to go to the Grave Chill there to get out of trouble, this is going to give them a lot of leeway, because like we saw earlier, the Grave Chill was not super effective when they lose that damage potential from the Soul Assumption. It is quite painful, especially when you've got... Well, actually, Bane hasn't actually picked his skill yet. He may actually decide for something else in a moment. They're not going to commit in there. I mean, they could have dealt hefty... If they basically... What's he got? Gyrocopter hasn't skilled either. I mean, if they Nightmared there and the Gyrocopter walked up to him and just dropped a Rocket Barrage in his face, I'm pretty sure they could have actually picked off BZZ there. That could have been a pick off, but you know, they lost line of sight to the other supports, so fair enough, they weren't game
this is
to try and go in there. Oh,
I just realized...
Oh, that could have been an arrow.
Yeah, I just realized something. Pyladai went Enfeeble, and Come With Me went Grave Chill. These are two very, very unskilled heroes now, because they don't have any real potential. Like, what can Come With Me do here? Absolutely nothing. He could have thrown out some damage, but instead he tries to get a movement speed boost, and is just disabled for such a long time. Great movement from Von Scar and BZZ, getting the Invis Rune, getting in position, and just getting the Disruption Arrow before the neutral spawned and blocked its path. So they got a full 5 second, and that guaranteed them the kill. But yeah, in this position here, they're going to be level 1 for quite a long time. And what is an Enfeeble? I mean, Enfeeble's going to fuck up Mirana just because she... I mean, that's almost all her damage. She does 17 right-click damage right now.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, when you're trying to save somebody, you want that Nightmare. Because Enfeeble, it's not like you Enfeeble and Nakes. Mirana has the lowest damage out of her tri-lane. That's how pathetic Mirana's right-click is. It's just hilarious. But yeah, she's not going to be able to CS worth a damn right now, which is going to help out a little bit. But on the other hand, like we've mentioned, she's not that awesome late game anyway, so she's mostly going to be looking for kills, and that's what they're going to have the potential to do here, pick up these kills. It looks like Come With Me now, he's been scattered out, he needs to be careful, he's been scattered out by that ward, they know he's there, they could indeed try and swing around and take him out. If he gets too close, he could suddenly get disrupted, and like we've seen, those arrows, they can come from such a long distance away, they are definitely quite lethal, as we're going to have that Enfeebles bam non-stop on BZZ. He's going to be stuck. I mean, Maze's got even 1 CS at the moment. That damage is so low. It's hilarious. They still leap forward there. They're going to go for this arrow. Oh, leaps in. Disruption. Arrow lands again. Come with me. And this is it. They're not even looking for the damage on BCZ. It's the illusions. And it's freaking Van's call with his right clicks. And a heal comes out. Drops the kill there. It's not even Mirana's right clicks. It doesn't matter if she's enfeebled. It's the arrow. That's all they're looking for. Disruption, arrow, and then the other heroes pick up the kills with the illusions.
Yeah. And unfortunately for them, they can't really win the top lane to make up for what they're losing down at bottom, because Slark has so much potential 1v1 versus Bat, getting that matchup there is just a godsend for them, as JRB can just Dark Pact out of any of those Napalm stacks, and playing his cards right, he can have some kill potential and have absolutely no chance of dropping down unless he himself misplays. And yeah, finally Bane has hit level 2, but doesn't even go for the Nightmare. Just going to get hit by this arrow. No, barely dodges on out of it. Very essential there, but even so, he doesn't have that much mana at his disposal. He literally has enough mana to very shortly be able to cast both of his spells, Enfeeble and Rank 1 Brain Sap. But when you get that off, what do you accomplish? Not very much, in my opinion.
We've got to keep in mind though that this, of course, the goal of this trial is to shut down MV's farm. It's not been as effective as he'd like because he is 11 and 7, and of course 7 denies at 3 minutes in is not too shabby at all. He's leading the deny chart, and against a Trine, that stings. That really stings. Like we've mentioned before, they are they're very, very experienced, starved. So they're really going to have to make up for this with the kills indeed, because losing all those denies is very painful. On the other hand, the constant rotations of these supports from the Radiant side is causing them to lose some experience. It looks like they will get that down there. They get disruption down. It will manage to land. Ambi takes a big hit. The heal comes out there across the illusions. That's the right clicks with the Soul Catcher as well. He goes down so quick, and this is what they want. They get these consistent kills on Ambi. That is definitely going to slow him down heavily. He's got to watch for that. And right now, with the rotation, so I come with me, he's level 1, and he's rotated to try and gank mid.
Yeah.
Prophet sitting mid, I think we've completely overlooked this. Of course, Tron has sat mid, is going for the fast phase, and opened up there with a Null Talisman. In fact, they pulled him a bit there, but it looks like Queen of Pain is pretty much standing... I mean, Queen of Pain, compared to most heroes 1v1 against Prophet, she will do quite well because she can prevent him from using the tree spam, as they pick up another kill on the bottom lane yet again. Those come out so damn quick.
It's almost even not. It's almost not even worth putting the camera on them. It's literally just disruption click, arrow click. It's just.
Why was Bane here?
I couldn't even tell you.
He was solo in the lane versus a Trine built to kill him. What is he doing here?
Yeah, I mean, he's just underestimating the movement speed of Shadow Demon. With these boots, 345, as opposed to Bane only sitting at 315, like, there's just no way that he can actually outmaneuver, and he can't do nightmare plays or anything like that. Like, there's just no point in him being anywhere. It's not just even that aggressive. I mean, obviously it'd be better if he wasn't feeding, but there's just nowhere for these supports to be that feels safe. Like, come with me, he's been camping and just, like, AFKing on the top of this cliff. He doesn't have any chance to actually kill Tron. Like, that Grave Shield, what's it going to accomplish? But the big thing here is at least he's not feeding, which is something to say for a level 1 support.
Oh man, the day your support's got goes, at least I'm not feeding, you know you're into trouble. I mean, I almost would say just go pull stuff. I mean, you can pull stuff over here, get some tangos, pull that mid lane, slow Tron down a bit. But now it looks like Bane has been spotted up there, and he's going to get the Dark Pact down as well. It's going to do, well, actually no, it's not going to do squat for damage because he's only level 1. Most of his damage is in the pounce, and now Batrider's on his way, and there's a Grave Chill as well. He can, of course, Dark Pact again. Might not want to, though, because it will, of course, deal some damage, and Batrider isn't too close to threaten him anyway.
So, doesn't even commit him to force him to commit a second spell there. He is being pinned in a little bit by 2 supports, but when that happens, we see RoX.KIS just changing their strategy down on bottom. Activate the Basilius, spam out the Shadow Wave, bring down the tower very quickly, and Siege Creep coming in at the perfect time to make this work for them, as they're going to have these 1.5 full waves, bringing this down very, very quickly.
This is it. This is like, we've seen the offensive trial, and this is what you want, just the kill potential. And this has definitely been work. Granted, of course, I mean, defensively, you've probably got the 2 worst heroes they could possibly have. You've got Come With Me, who's still at 0 experience at 5-6 minutes in. 0 experience. And, of course, he's skilled Grave Chill first. And you've got an Enfeeble Bane. That is not going to defend squat in that tri-lane. So, granted, this is working really well, but they've got nothing to defend against it anyway. And, of course, they don't have a carrier who can at least blink out or something. But Grave Chill going in there, keeping Visage safe for the moment. He's still 0 experience. Absolutely getting slaughtered here. Going to Vanskull rotate up here now. And chase off TZ. He's going to have to back off there as well. Going to go back to mid lane, continue to farm. And there we go. I mean, this is why Queen of Pain can deal with the Tron's Nature's Prop fairly easily, just because she can scream down the trance and they end up as being free food. But now Slark up in the top.
Coming on in, actually, they're going to go for a double damage gank here, get the full disruption, get the full heal. Look at that damage with the Wrath of Nature on top of it. They get the kill. Oh my goodness, just really, really good play. I mean, it was only 1 double damage right click, but they got enough damage with that big heal bomb and the Wrath of Nature. Just too much. And now Pilot Eye up on top should be dropping down. No, actually, the Dark Pact misses in full, and Slark is going to have to pop off his ulti to get on out of there.
So I'm just looking at that. Wow, she took a pretty big spread of damage. The Nature's Wrath wasn't actually the big deal there. I'm looking at the combat log. It only did 168, so that was a pretty close range Nature's Wrath. It wasn't one that bounced around the entire map. And it was mostly just, yeah, I think just all of them hitting her at once. Just combined fire there. Did so much. And of course, she's not that tanky just yet. And with the Soul Catcher as well. But they're going to bring in this tier 1, and now they're putting a ton of pressure on. This is really good from RoX.KIS. Just going to gradually choke Kaipi out of the game, just make it really hard for them. Of course, we've still only got a level 5 Gyrocopter as well. Absolutely nowhere near any items he needs. Now the pressure continuing on a mid. BZZ charging forwards, and come with me, backing up. He is level 2 finally, has some offensive capabilities.
Another questionable play by Arteezy. He actually TP'd to the tier 1 tower that was pretty much dead and got disruption arrowed, so another big loss for them.
Wow. I mean, looks like Bone 7 up the top lane about to die as well. He gets a lasso down, but it just delays the inevitable. Almost, unfortunately, he was actually pinned down by the pounce. It looked like he was going to try and split them up there with the cliff, but couldn't quite make it down the cliff there. But the push continues as Tron, just summoning those treants. Van full of homies, just going to continue pushing down that tower. And there's just not much they can do, of course. Come with me. Bane and the Necrolake, they just cannot do anything to clear the way. There's Arteezy, they need him badly to help counter push this lane. And he's not going to manage. The question is whether or not they can get the 9. Not going to happen. Die going to get the destroy. The Yol going to press forwards. Wow, he is getting super aggressive. Just charging forwards, does not care. Has gone for 3-1-2 build as we see the disruption tossed out, or rather the Soul Catcher get tossed out yet again. And Bone 7 also having to back up.
RoX.KIS just have nothing to fear here. They have their arcane boots up. They have just such great potential. And yeah, I was talking about how squishy their heroes can be, but when they have such a level advantage, it doesn't even seem to matter. They're up against a level 3 Visage that's maximum of 2 Soul Assumption, and Bane that doesn't have his ultimate. So there really is no threat pushing in and arrowing people underneath their tier 3 towers. So just go on in, do whatever you want, get tons of cash. And taking on that bot tier 1, we generally talk about how it opens up so that they can take the jungle and they can prevent the carry from farming the jungle. In this situation, it was actually more painful for Arteezy, where he couldn't control the bot rune, and he got ganked in from the side multiple times over. So RoX.KIS just pressed their advantage, and they start off just edging in on the bot lane, control that very, very effectively with a successful tri-lane, and then move in and start making that happen across the map. Now they have a 3-tower advantage looking at a 4th, and Kaipi gonna try to scramble for almost a last ditch with this call down and Sonic Wave.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the push up here. I mean, we've got to keep in mind, JRB hasn't even participated yet. He's just been sitting up here fighting the whole time. Leaps in there. Bone 7. Oh no, Bone 7 in a lot of trouble. They throw out the defensive call down. Try and keep him away there. And they will just back off. Bone 7 will manage to survive there as Yol also deciding to back off as well. I mean, that's the big advantage of having, like you mentioned, the fact that they put pressure on the mid. The Dire put pressure on the mid with their supports. It's a big advantage of the offensive Tron. If you get off to a good start and you can leave your guy, like your main guy, alone for a few seconds, you can rotate very easily and hit that mid. It's very easy, much easier to gank the mid like that. As it looks like, wow, JRB charging in Mirana. If she hits that Moonlight Shadow, it does get popped as well. They bring down the Gyrocopter as well. Envy is down. Come with me as well. Easy food here. Easy food indeed. As they're going to have a port in though. Here comes Batrider. It's Taylor Grave though. A little bit early to be honest. A little bit early, didn't need to pop it quite that quickly, but he should actually know they got the flying vision, jumps over the trees, pounces away. However, he might be in some serious trouble now as he will get lassoed up, dragged back into the Firefly, and lucky to fall here. Yes, he does get cleaned up there. Queen of Pain activates a haste rune, charges forward, drops out the Sonic Wave, and will pick up her own kill. Finally, Kaipi on the board, 2 kills in rapid succession, but it is still some fairly, it's small victories. They are 10,000 gold behind at 10 minutes in.
I mean, they get 2 kills, they lose a tier 2, and you look at the net worth, and other than Dazzle, everybody in RoX.KIS is higher than everybody in Kaipi. And it's just very, very sad to see, but that's the situation. I think Eternal Envy will bump himself up on the charts a bit here with this nice farm on bottom, but yeah, that's really all he has to really thank for what's going on in this situation. And yeah, that was on Rock when JRB was diving under that tier 2. He was Shadow Dance Invis, he was Mirana Invis. Oh, actually, finally got that Fiend's Grip. Really nice. That's what those 2 kills actually enabled, is getting a good amount of experience and bouncing back Pilot Eye to his ultimate, and that sets up 1 more kill, and maybe they could bait what's going on top, but it looks like Come With Me will drop down a little bit too fast for that to take effect. Instead, he is going to be fish food, with Nature Prophet actually going to be taking the last hit on that.
Yeah, they will manage to pick up that kill, and we see Slark finally get some ranks up there on Dark Pact. He's getting those levels in. Did actually max out the Pounce first, decided he wanted to go for that, as it looks like we're going to have rotation here by Yol as well as Vanscore into the enemy jungle. Looking for, well, they've got this ward here, they're using it to spot people up. I don't know if they can get this kill on Envy by themselves, although that said, I mean, level 7 Dazzle, what was that, level 6 there. Envy, I think, might even spot, he's only level 8 here. They do need to be careful though, although actually they've got a creep wave here, should be out, and he's just going to TP out, and he will get disrupted though. think there was a questionable TP there, and he's getting it boxed in. Chum's charging out. But Nature's Wrath does so much freaking damage there. Gets blasted down really, really easy. And of course, Soul Catcher in the mix as well. Dazzle well on his way to finishing up a mech. Only a good 700 or so gold away from getting that done. Tron now porting down to the bottom room. Will find an invisibility. Looks like he's going to leave it though. Does anybody have a bottle?
No.
They might just give it to Slark in a second.
Yeah. That Soul Catcher is now at rank 3, so a 40% bonus damage, and that'll be plenty for them to get those kind of quick combos off. We do see Roche dropping very, very quickly as the Nature's Call, Basiliuses, all that stuff will take effect, and even do a little bit heal bomb action. There's also a quick little Slark pick off. JRB timing his Dark Pack perfectly so that when the lasso came out from the Batrider, it got immediately dispelled, and he just got the last 2 right clicks he needed to finish the job there. So kind of balling out of control right now. He's level 7, or level 11, whereas everybody else is level 9 or below. So in a great position himself. They're going to get Lothar's in the profit, too.
Envy getting picked off that invisibility room, paying dividends there as he will, in fact, activate his ult. Just finishes up Envy very easily there. In fact, he might, and Mirana going to cover him there. In fact, he was gunning for a second kill potentially, but Mirana going to cover him with his ult. Gets spotted up though, and Fiend Script coming in. But here comes Tron. Can he save the day? No, cancels. Says, Arteezy's here as well. We'll just let you go there as Disruption comes out there. Who are they trying to pick off? It's Bone 7. Gets hit there by that ult as well. They're standing in fire though. Sonic Wave comes out. And Arteezy looking to turn this around. Starstorm as well. They will lose the Batrider. But they do at least take a couple of kills with them. And they hear an arrow. Oh wow, long range arrows coming in. Dodges though. Hears it and will seize it. And we'll double back in time, not get picked off by that.
Yeah, the first arrow was actually a really big deal. BZZ threw one out very long range. It came out and just edged out like 100 range away. It dispelled. It just ran out of time. And I juiced there, and it did not connect. But yeah, that was very unfortunate. I don't think Queen of Pain could have retaliated as she did to get a couple kills if that arrow had landed, but either way, they're still very confident in their position. Looking back at that atrocious gold graph, we do see a very substantial advantage of over 12,000 and moving in towards 5,000 for the experience. So now pushing in towards the top. I believe this is their time to go for that tier 3. They have the Aegis up on Mirana. They just about have the Manta style, and they're in a great position to just finish the job here.
Yeah, it's really sticking the boot in. There's this tower going to get dropped rapidly there. Tier 2 going down. Not much they can do about it. In fact, they're just going to say, screw it. Just make sure we get as much experience as we can. Because this is down to tier 3s. It's going to come down to can RoX.KIS siege this high ground. And to be honest, I'm almost at a point where we look at this goal graph and I'm saying it doesn't matter if they don't. Like, they have got such a snowball lead. I don't think it even matters if they siege the tier 3 now or not. All they need to do is just basically camp the forest, make sure that Kaipi don't find anywhere to farm at all, and they'll get ahead. I mean, Mirana will pick up another big core item. She'll get a BKB, or she'll pick up a straight damage if she feels like it. And same for Slark. Slark will get some nice big items. He's already got the Shadow Blade as well, just enhancing his gank power. And of course, Tron will get huge as well. He's got this Midas working away. It's going to be such a huge force multiplier. And, they just keep edging in, just chipping away at towers every now and then. They're going to bring down something eventually.
Yeah.
And the whole time, there's no room for Kaipi to farm.
Unfortunately, missing out on a couple kill opportunities. The Slark was underestimating the Queen of Pain having maxed out Blink and timed their abilities incorrectly. That Arteezy was able to escape on out, and yet again, Eternal Envy just popping off that TP, this time successfully, is able to walk away. He's even gone as far as to get a Quelling Blade to avoid the sprouts, just trying to get out of those trees, trying to maneuver, and trying to actually be in the position he wants to, because he's not doing so hot. We're sitting on a Bracer, possibly to a Drum, but Ring of Aquil on a Phase Boots right now. It's just not too much durability. We're going to see the arrow come on through, hits Eternal Envy, very long range, and just does not respond appropriately. Now Pilota is purged on up, but gets the Fiend's Grip out of Mirana. This might be her first life right here. Arteezy doing a decent bit of damage, holding on to the ultimate though, waiting for them to cluster up to try to help out BZZ, but that gives them the opportunity to leap on away, and there are no casualties as of yet.
This is what I mean. Even with this rolling start, like, this tier 3 is still very difficult to siege against when you've got Fiend's Grip, when you've got Cooldown, when you've got Sonic Wave. That said, they have expended 2 of those big ults. Got Lasso still. Arrow comes in again. It will just miss. Arteezy blinks away in time. These arrows from BZZ is perfect, have been absolutely obnoxious. It's a leap away there from JRB. Will manage to escape before getting pinned down. Had they managed to land a lasso there, although I think he was charging up Dark Pack, so it should have been just fine regardless. As it is, they are just going to loop around here. In fact, Bone 7 going to try and get up on... No, he's just actually going to try and sneak some farm in while they back off. In fact, this may be dangerous as the ward goes up. They've got high ground vision. They can see him now. I think they've just pinged to him, said there's probably a ward going up there. I think they saw Yol move his way up there as well. Mirana moves forward again. This is such... Kaipi, they've got to be on their toes. The arrows are making things intense. Speaking of arrows... Oh, no, I think it hit a bird. I thought that hit Bane for a second.
Yeah, but they're just in such an aggressive position right here. I mean, you look at the build on Yol's Dazzle, and he's gone for the aggressive 3 points of Poison Touch for the extra stun, and then after that just been, of course, getting some bread and butter Shadow Wave, but after that, trying to max out his Shallow Grave, trying to get that big 1,000 range, 15-second cooldown, and trying to make sure that if they're in a very aggressive position, they leap into the base, whatever, that the Dazzle is there to support them, that they can keep them living as long as possible, and from there, RoX.KIS can just play aggressively, so the rest of them can play aggressively, and Yol and Vanscore will have their back at whatever range they dive on into.
I mean, this is super tense for both teams. You've got, right now, Kaipi, they're really worried about these arrows, and we're seeing exactly how these can just completely start up a fight. But on the other hand, RoX.KIS have to be super careful. If they get in a bad position, suddenly Queen of Pain can knock out heroes so quickly.
Hope.
Even, like, if Dazzle gets bursted, there's, of course, the drag factor, the pick-off factor there from Bones. That arrow comes out, will miss, though, whiffs, as he manages to dodge that. But, of course, Fiend's Grip with Lasso, they've always got to be worried. And the burst potential for Queen of Pain, that's definitely very problematic. And, of course, the chain stuns are there. They've got birds. If they get caught out and the chain stuns start kicking in, it's a very big deal. And of course, they do have the disruption saves, but there's only so much can keep you away from. There are so many disables and big AoEs in Kaipi's side. They're going to keep moving in. The Vec gets pop. Arrow comes out. Pilot Eye eats one. He should be okay, though. No, they're not going to go and try and save him there. They will jump in. There's Queen of Pain. Uses his bait. Drops a big bomb. They're down. Goes Nature's Bomb. Mirana's down as well. Aegis will come back in a second. Slark, though, he's been protected there by Shallow Grave. Now the Lasso. BZZ is perfect in drag back. This is what I mean. I don't know if they can siege the high ground just yet. Mirana goes down. That was a pretty painful trade for RoX.KIS there. Aegis and and they're two really expensive heroes.
Yeah, they were forced to go in there by the circumstances. The Aegis was expiring in about 40 seconds. They wanted to use it. They pop up the mech to take the high ground, but they just weren't ready for it. Not sure why Mirana wasn't spamming the Manta out of the Aegis, because full HP illusions up against a Bat Rider trying to lasso you seemed like the best option, but either way, was able to leap only to be pulled right back on into it. So that was very costly for them, and that's momentum they don't want to lose. Either way, Eternal Envy might be dropped down here. Tries to go for the TP. Dark Pact not going to do enough damage. Yeah, he's going to TP away successfully. Shadow Blade does quite a bit, but insufficient to actually finish the job here. So Eternal Envy still surviving. To my amazement, anyways. We do see, however, a attempt to bring out the courier. 2 right clicks come out from Tron. That's going to be an easy little pick-off on the flying little piggy. But beyond that, we do see, I'm not sure, I guess they were smoked up, but right now Shadowblade Prophet coming out to try to bring on RTZ, and he succeeds with the help of BZZ, but is now Fiend's gripped up and dropped down by that Soul Assumption. Popping off the ultimate. Mirana will be able to invis away, but now going underneath the Sentry Ward could be very bad. Doesn't have Leap. Is going to get Grave Chill, but no Stone Forms coming out as of yet, and just going to be trading and retreating from there.
See, going back to this 5-stand mod, I also appreciate sneaky ward down here trying to set up arrows, but I'm not convinced that RoX.KIS can try and siege his tower just yet, and I'm not convinced they even need to. I feel like it's a safer option just to back off, strangle level Kaipi's farm out, and then just make sure Mirana gets a bigger item. Like, give Mirana and Slark another big item, and they'll just rip Kaipi apart. But they just don't have that yet. Like, Mirana, if she has a Monkey King bar, and if Slark gets a big item, like another item as well, they've just got suddenly so much more damage, because Envy's got no room to farm. Like, he's still stuck on a bracer, for crying out loud. And of course, Tron, if he picks up a Hex, it's suddenly so easy. This is risky what they're doing. They can quite easily get burst down. That said, oh no, actually, it's back. It's back. The Sonic Wave is here again. They take the tower, though, because, unfortunately, Kaipi was a little slow to respond there. And they will just jump in. In fact, Pilot Eye gets caught out. I really question his positioning there. Gets caught out, gets brought down, and this may open it up, but they will be able to bring down this Rax if Kaipi can't mount some kind of massive defense here. JRB, they're getting forced to leap back. It looks like they're holding on for now. Arteezy hasn't committed the ult just yet. Big hit, though, from Nature's Wrath. Arteezy losing half his health there, and Slark now still in the mix. Bone 7 getting caught out. Bone 7 is down. They've got 2 heroes down. This is a big opening. No heroes down for RoX.KIS. Rax is dropping. Another stun out Arteezy. I think he just ate an arrow to the face. Envy now taking a ton of damage as well. He's forcing them back, though. Drops a nice big cooldown, as it looks like they are just going to have Yol survive by the skin of his teeth. Gets down the Shallow Grave just in time there, as they've got the counter ward down, forcing JRB back, still doing a ton of damage over to the Melee Barracks. Melee Barracks in some danger. Arrow goes out, doesn't hit though, whiffs completely, and it looks like they will back off yet again.
Yeah.
A good result for them, but again, it's risky. It's really risky. Queen of Pain didn't manage to nuke that fight, so they got away with it, but it could have been entirely different if they didn't land those chain stuns. I mean, this has the potential. This is what I'm saying. RoX.KIS, it's working, but it has the potential to backfire. It's not their safest option, and that does, I think this gives Kaipi a chance.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of astonished that RTZ didn't ulti the Mirana out when the disruption ended, but there was a possibility of BZZ leaping away, just perfect timing, and that could have been enough for him to get on out of there if RTZ messed up the timing, playing on his higher ping values. But either way, they are holding the line, at least for the moment. They have all their ultis up, except for the familiars who are just kind of roaming about, but they're getting pushed in from multiple angles. That's the power of Prophet, is especially with the Shadow Blade. So you can just clean up on the top lane, and then as soon as Queen of Pain leaves, they can go down bottom. However, we do get a quick pause coming on through. Bone 7 is in need of it, or somebody on the team is. Either way, it's going to be come back up, and we'll see if anybody's actually going to initiate. But everybody falling back. Arrow goes across, is going to have to connect. No, the birds do eat it, and indeed they do, forcing it out so that Come With Me does not get dropped down. And I guess that's just good to have a single control group just right-clicking around, because they will, generally speaking, always block you from a danger such as that.
As I should mention, the whole time Tron right now has been sieging the top racks. He's got the tower down to half health, so this is keeping Kaipi's retention pretty badly split. IMB cops an arrow to the face. Starstorm comes out, the blink in lasso though. However, defensive disruption. Mirana goes down, gets picked off. Sonic Wave comes in, a leap out there from JRB. He backs up. It looks like Dazzle Illusions are trying to pick off this rack. It's not going to happen though, as they pop the glyph there. And they've lost Dazzle as well. Mirana's down, and they're going to be forced to back off. However, top tower getting dropped fairly rapidly. It will go down. Tonight comes out, and now Tron deciding to Shadow Walk out of there. Shadow Blade out of there. We're managing use that invis to get away. However, it looks like we've got JRB very, very low on health. It has popped the Shadow Blade though. He's healing up rapidly. Could try and get a turnaround kill here, although there are a lot of heroes plus familiar stuns. We'll need to be careful if he goes for this. Looks like he's going to jump. Come with me. The familiars are not coming back. Come with me. There's opts to die here. Oh, as you know, he pops the Nightmare on him. Might actually manage to save him there. And then we go. Familiar stun. Chain stuns it twice. Dark Pact is not enough. It brings him down there. Soul Assumption. Flame Break back. Tron is going to try and save Tron. They don't have any detection. He will manage to sneak away there with Moonlight Shadow. And they'll get away there. But Roshan is back up, and I think RoX.KIS are going to go for that.
Yeah. Nice little pickup of the Veil. Oh, wow. That Wrath of Nature almost finishing up Pilot Eye there, but just not cutting it. They know there's a ward here, and they're going to be able to sentry out in a moment. But, yeah, I like the Veil pickup by RTZ, trying to just amplify that damage just a little bit there, getting the Scream out, etc. Going back to what I was talking about a little bit, is RoX.KIS and their general durability. 1100 HP on Mirana, not too much when they can actually get the jump on you there. The big thing was Dazzle was trying to keep her up, but she was gone before he could get the Shallow Grave off. And as soon as that's gone, then he got focused down Fiend's Grip, and that meant that both the Shallow Grave and the Mechanism, neither one was used in that engagement, so it really just went to hell really, really quickly, especially since they started off in a 4v5 circumstance, based on the Prophet being up top. It meant that as soon as they lost a hero, they had to be in full retreat mode, and inside the enemy's base is not exactly the best position to be trying to run on out. Like you said, they did get the tier 3, they have gotten Roshan, but they are taking some losses, and we're going to see the gold graph plateau out, and the experience actually rubber band and cut out half the distance between Kaipi and RoX.KIS.
There we go. They're going to push back in, though. I mean, right now they've got the Hex. This is definitely where they get dangerous, although Tron is continuing to push the top lane. In fact, he might even try and pick off Envy here. I don't think he's got the damage to do it, though, because Envy does have a TP as well, although we've got JRB coming from behind. In fact, they're going to sneak around behind me. TP's out, though. Good presence of mind there from Envy. Decides to get the hell out there. I don't think they even knew Slark was coming in, but definitely a wise choice. TP's out in time, and that Envy, if he'd been picked off there, definitely could have been game, set, match. Still trying to get his first core item, though, like his first major item. He's got drums, but he really needs something like a BKB in there. Quite badly indeed. They're throwing a couple of counter wards there, just trying to keep an eye out for Slark's prowling about. This will give him full view of rotations, or even a potential like Moonlight Shadow gank there from the Radiant side, from the Dire side as well. They've really got to watch for that. I mean, these counter wars have to be here all the time, especially with Slark and the potential for Moonlight Shadow. And it's good that they're doing that, because I mean, it would completely leave them wide open to getting killed there. As it looks at RTZ though, everybody managed to avoid that arrow there. Bit of a hopeful shot there from BZZ. But Tron continuing to push the top lane. They've got the split push going, Blaze, non-stop.
Yeah. And it's just difficult, because even if you win a fight, and it takes like about 30 seconds to actually complete the skirmish, you're losing your racks in that time period. That's plenty for the Prophet. And if you go try to force the Prophet back, they're committing a lot of sentries down bottom, where, like you said, they need to against Moonlight Shadow and take out these observers, but that's just more gold they're trying to funnel into anti-invis, and with that Prophet having the Lothars, that means that if they go up top, they don't have, probably just going to commit 1 or 2 heroes up top. They don't have invis detection, they can't bring him down, he just sliced one and either TPs away to join his allies, or just walks away and continues his little waves game. He just kind of goes back and forth every single creep wave, pushing in, and if they try to force pressure up top, you better believe they're going to be taking a lot of hits down on bottom.
I feel like they need to punish Prophet. I mean, they've got the potential to do it. I feel like they've just got to punish him. If they can get on top of him and blink lasso really quickly, he won't have a chance to get out of there. If they can manage that, they can bring him back and then just nuke him down really, really quickly, especially with stuff like Brain Sap. He'll drop really quick. They take him out of the picture. Suddenly they can commit 5 heroes to the bottom line, defend that, make sure they have time there.
Yeah.
Because as long as they keep this lane pushed out, they've got time to quickly nuke down Prophet and then get back in. I feel like they've got that chance. As long as the creep aren't on their doorstep, they can do that.
Yeah.
But as it is, they haven't really decided to commit for that. They've mostly been focused on this RoX. But as it is right now, like you mentioned, both lanes are open. Both lanes are equally vulnerable. So I feel like if they just basically punish RoX.KIS from doing this, they won't do it nearly as much. And they'll just calm that down a bit. They can just create some space. If they can drag this out another 10, 15 minutes, and if RoX.KIS don't back off and get those core items up, they may find themselves in a bit of a sticky situation because their team fight is definitely, it's not as strong as Kaipi's. They've got the big lockdowns, they've got the big AoE. And that's definitely what's going to carry them into that 30-minute mark, 35-minute mark. Because, like we said, RoX.KIS, fragile as all hell. They have got some BKBs coming out. On the other hand, it's a double-edged sword. It doesn't stop the disables from Kaipi. Fiend's Grip and Lasuga still go right through it. And also, the other thing is, it prevents friendly spells. Like, you can't get your spells on top of it. You can't force-start them out of trouble, can't disrupt it. It just really causes some issues. So, if you're getting focused down by Gyrocopter, who when he gets some damage by the flat count of the damage for it, you just can't get that save in there, so that could cause issues, but we'll see.
I think they did make the change recently where Shallow Grave can go through BKB, so that's nice, but like you said, Force Staff and Disruption are still tools that they won't have at their disposal. Really the big deal to try to bring down that Prophet in that big transitional swing, just really quickly going up, bringing them down, and then coming back to defend their racks down on bottom. The big thing they need there is to get Come With Me in range. He has a Gem of True Sight. I guess they could hand it over to the bat for a short time period. That might work too. But one way or another, they need to get close with that gem if they're going to be able to try to get a lasso or a Fiends. Because you could better believe that right now they're going to have Tron's going to have his finger on the Shadow Blade button, just waiting for any kind of movement like that.
They could just buy Bat Dust, and that would do exactly what they need as well. And they wouldn't even need to risk the gem on the Bat Rider to a bait from Tron. So, I mean, Dust will do the job, plus it'll slow them down as well. Yeah,
I'm just worried that, those situations, you blink in, you're ready to lasso, and then halfway through the anime, if you have to wait to dust and then cast it, you're going to be sheeped up in that time period. It's just too quick for the Prophet to do that. So it's difficult.
That is definitely true. He does have the ability, of course he can get the sheep in there. That would definitely screw things up. And they may be worried about the bait factor because actually, arguably, they have got pretty good vision. Considering the fact that they've been so heavily pushed back, RoX.KIS haven't invested in something like, haven't really invested in a gem or heavy warding. Obviously, I mean, they don't really want to risk the gem all that much because they lose a gem suddenly. Mirana and Aslaka are in a lot more trouble. But they haven't invested in heavy counter watering. So they're allowing Kaipi to have this vision up here, have this vision over here, and sort of keep an eye on what's going on. And I mean, they've got the ability to tell where the wards are too. Of course, Slark, his ult, is fantastic for helping your counter wards. They know exactly where the wards are, where they have vision and where they don't have vision. So if they wanted to, they could very cost efficiently get rid of it. There's no guessing games for them going, well, they might have a ward here, or this could be a total waste of 200 gold.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely would help them be more effective in controlling and really just accomplishing what they need to, which is just pinch them in and starve them out. But at least for the moment, they're going to fall back a little bit. As far as that Aegis timing, if we look over at the Roche Pit, we are seeing that it is going to be about 4 minutes away. 4 minutes away, and then they're going to be losing that. So the pressure is on for them in a little bit, but I think right now BZC wants to finish his BKB before the engagement comes on across. Because if they can just get the BKB, then they can stop Arteezy's damage, and that's what's been crippling them every single time they try to push uphill.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, his nukes are huge. They are definitely keeping them in the fights. Yeah, of course, we should also keep in mind cooldown does a fair amount of damage as well, and that's definitely contributing to their ability to defend. The fact they haven't lost any racks just yet. Tier 3s are definitely down and exposed. Raxes are exposed, but for the moment they're holding on. In fact, the melee barracks, the bottom lane, has regenerated quite heavily, so the longer this drags on, I mean, RoX.KIS, obviously, they're in a good position still because they have such a big goal lead. It's still, in fact, it's still growing, 20,000. But as long as they can maintain this is why I feel like they should have done this earlier. Shouldn't have risked those fights and even given them a chance, because they could quite easily could have just continued to strangle this and just get so far ahead in terms of farm. Just like, look what they're doing right now. BZZ farming the enemy jungle. Like, just so much more room to get cash. Whereas, unfortunately, Kaipi are stuck doing silly things like this, where they've got Batrider looking for potential ganks on profit, just running around wasting time. And in fact, Slark is in fact right in front of their face, didn't even realize it there. But that's giving them a lot of time to just get them. In fact, bird gold being sought after, not quite being picked up though. In the bottom lane, BZZ jumping around looking for the bird gold. But this is what they continue to do. Just make sure they get this farm. Just continue to farm so much faster than Kaipi can manage.
Dust is actually on cooldown here, so that's not very good. Along with that, Eternal Envy going to take a lot of hits here. Doesn't have a TP scroll this time around. Going to get flame breaked away. JRB is not going to be able to snag the kill, as there's a nice 4-staff coming across as well. So Bone 7's got quite a bit of farm to be able to initiate and avoid initiation as best he can, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. We do see right now Stoneform coming on out on veiled targets, but Yul's healing keeps him up at half, and now BKB comes out on Slark. Is going to be able to drop down, come with me very, very quickly. Drops the gem, used the mech already. BZZ now pops off his BKB, but gets lassoed underneath the tier 4. Is going to take a lot of damage here, and the Fiend's comes out as well. Everything committed, but it might be enough. No, disruption. Dropping them down, and now Ortiz is going to have to go in for the kill with that ultimate across. Only pops off Aegis, though. Everything committed, and not a single actual kill. BZZ tries to get the arrow, does not connect. Forcing out a buyback from Ortiz, but he doesn't have that ulti. Can reapply the veil, but that's just about it, and now the racks are about to fall here very, very quickly. Tron as well took the melee racks up top, so they've lost 2 racks, about to be 3, and they haven't gotten a single actual kill.
Yeah, unfortunately, Kaipi, they were split. They couldn't decide what to fight. Smart play there from RoX.KIS, hitting both sides at once, and that just allowed them to pick off targets. So we saw, basically, JRB just dove into that base, and he was completely unopposed. They didn't fiend script, nothing happened there. Just jumped in all over top of Come With Me and took him down. And once he lost that gem, he was just running around their base. Nothing they could do to stop him. And of course, like you mentioned, Tron, just chopping away their top racks. Just, they could not decide what to defend, and as it is, RoX.KIS going to take this one away, and they'll be moving forward to face off against Virtus Pro or EG, whoever comes out on top there.
So that's going to be the next game up for grabs on the schedule here. Well played to RoX.KIS, a very interesting style with the draft here. I mean, Mirana, Slark, Dazzle, all heroes that we generally don't see as often. Occasional fringe picks, but definitely not all 3 together. So fun to see. We'll see if they actually do have more emphasis in the meta in the future, but I have seen more and more of Mirana every single day, and it looks like she's going to be coming back very effectively, even if she can't last hit as much as most people would prefer her to. Either way, nice action. BZZ landing some great arrows, set up very nicely by bad scores. Always impressive Shadow Demon, and that's going to be a little bit drawn out, but in the end, a nicely won game by RoX.KIS. So we see the end result, 25,000 gold advantage over 15,000 in experience, and they're going to be able to finish this off in just a second here. As soon as Come With Me actually does disconnect on out, otherwise I'll just drop the referee command, and that'll be the completion. But again, the next game here is actually the Evil Geniuses versus Virtus Pro. It's going to be a kind of deciding factor of how effective Virtus Pro can be in qualifying for the cup or being forced into a tiebreaker situation up against Fnatic.
Well, I mean, if Virtus Pro lose, they're out. They're done. It'll be Mouse Sports and Fnatic going into the finals. So it's really right now a question of whether or not Virtus Pro or Fnatic make it through, and they need to win this one. If they lose this one, they're done. And Fnatic are definitely going to make it through just based on that 180 points, because they are with 30 points behind. And I should mention, I mean, we're talking about the offensive trial. It worked well here. But let's be fair, let's be completely brutally honest, what the hell were Kaipi's supports doing? We had questionable, like, first early skills. The Bane opened up with a Feeble, had no way to defend against the arrow bombs. And then we had Come With Me on 0 experience at 6 minutes in.
Yeah.
And a Grave Chill as the opening skill. Had no ability to influence those fights at all.
Exactly. Yeah, 100% the issue there, and there's just really no way around it. Once they got started, the first blood went the way of Shadow Demon. That gave him boots, and he was able to initiate over and over and over again, to the point that being on bottom lane was suicidal, plain and simple. So they just got that control, they transitioned that control to mid, then to top, and took the game away. Really, very nicely done, but just a clean-cut job by RoX.KIS. Thank you guys so much for tuning on into the Premier League Season 5 Aegis Cup. This was the third quarter